Hello, everyone. The life and legacy of legendary gospel artist Andraé have long inspired countless individuals around the globe. But behind the powerful lyrics and soul-stirring melodies lies a mystery that, for years, remained buried beneath the surface. A mystery that has finally been unraveled. And unfortunately, it's not the hopeful story many had imagined. As one of the most iconic figures in gospel music history, Crouch was celebrated for blending traditional gospel with contemporary sounds, shaping the genre and influencing even secular artists such as Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Elton John. From hits like "The Blood Will Never Lose Its Power" to "Soon and Very Soon," his music became synonymous with worship, healing, and transformation. But beneath the public praise and countless awards, there were troubling signs, hidden battles, and personal struggles that many close to him now reveal were far more serious than the public ever knew. Insiders and close friends have finally come forward, shedding light on the emotional, psychological, and even spiritual turmoil that shadowed Andraé's life, especially during his final years. While fans saw a man of faith filled with passion and praise, those closest to him now admit that he was often battling depression, unresolved grief over the death of his twin sister Sandra, who was not only his sibling but also his lifelong ministry partner, and the mounting pressures of fame, ministry politics, and declining health. Reports suggest that following Sandra's death, Andraé entered a season of quiet despair, struggling to reconcile his unwavering belief in divine healing with the reality of personal loss and terminal illness. Although he never abandoned his faith, the contradictions between his public messages of hope and his private fears created emotional isolation. Friends recall that his smile remained, but the light in his eyes dimmed. There were also whispers, long dismissed, about financial mismanagement within his ministry and record label, allegations of manipulation by inner circle handlers, and moments where Andraé expressed concern over how his legacy would be handled after his passing. The mystery deepens with revelations from longtime collaborators who say that, in his last days, Crouch had been trying to pen a final project, not just an album, but a brutally honest spiritual memoir that reportedly would have included confessions about his fears, doubts, and the darker sides of the gospel music industry. Some of the drafts of this memoir have allegedly gone missing, while others remain tightly guarded by estate executives, raising questions about whether his full truth will ever see the light of day. What is clear now is that Andraé Crouch was a man who carried the weight of spiritual responsibility for an entire generation, but often lacked a safe space for his own healing. Despite being surrounded by admirers, insiders say he was often lonely, feeling used for his talent and name while being denied authentic relationships beyond the stage. Additionally, private medical records and conversations with health professionals indicate that Crouch's condition was more serious than publicly disclosed. While liver cancer was eventually acknowledged, there were also complications related to diabetes, heart strain, and prolonged exhaustion, conditions exacerbated by a relentless tour schedule and emotional strain. Sources say that some of his final performances were done against medical advice, driven by a sense of duty and fear of disappointing fans and ministry supporters. This raises uncomfortable questions. Was Andraé Crouch forced to give more of himself than he had left to give? Did the very church that hailed him as a hero fail to minister to the man behind the microphone? Even now, nearly a decade after his death in 2015, these questions haunt his closest confidants, and as these revelations emerge, the world is being forced to confront the cost of spiritual celebrity and unchecked expectations. In the final analysis, the mystery of Andraé Crouch's life isn't about scandal or controversy in the traditional sense. It's about the quiet tragedy of a man who poured out his soul to the world, only to find that his own was running empty. It's about the burden of brilliance, the silence of saints when they are suffering, and the way public platforms can sometimes drown out private pain. Still, even in the shadows of these revelations, one cannot deny the eternal impact of his work. His songs continue to heal, to uplift, to reach into prisons, hospitals, and church pews with the same anointing that defined his early ministry. The mystery may be painful, but the legacy is undeniable. Even in the shadows of these revelations, one cannot deny the eternal impact of his work. His songs continue to heal, to uplift, to reach into prisons, hospitals, and church pews with the same anointing that defined his early ministry. The mystery may be painful, but the legacy is undeniable. And perhaps now, in finally uncovering the unspoken sorrows behind the music, we are called not only to celebrate Andraé Crouch's accomplishments, but to honor the fullness of his humanity, to see him not just as a gospel giant, but as a man who suffered, endured, and ultimately still believed in the power of grace. Thanks for watching.